1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. 7. You understand? 7. 7 clear-cut chances. I am not talking about chances. There's a difference between me talking about missed chances. No, I am talking about clear-cut chances that we could have scored yesterday that we ended up not scoring. 7, guys. You're telling me Uti, we couldn't convert 2 out of the 7. And by the way, it's because this time around I actually made an effort to go and look at the goals that we could have scored, that we couldn't and shouldn't have excused ourselves for not scoring. That we can't excuse ourselves from not scoring. 7 this time around. I don't know how many we missed against Stellenbosch, against Richards Bay, Kaizer, all the other teams. And Zwane has reached his breaking point. Because beginning of the season, we got a Zwane who would come out after games and say, oh, the boys played well, we were dominant, blah, 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 blah. But if you've noticed, if you go to watch post-match reaction ga Zwane in the past 3-4 games, he says, I told them, they, them. And usually, when a manager starts saying that, saying they, it's because ukhathele of being blamed for the mistakes of the players. We saw the same thing on Mourinho before they got fired, go Man United. Or man, who's this guy? Conte, the recent one. That's the same thing that he was doing before he got fired. Uguti just saying, Spurs don't want to play. These players don't want to play under pressure. Blah, blah, blah. They. But the question is, can you actually blame him? Can you blame him if abantu bezomisa 7 clear-cut chances? Can you blame him if we are going to concede out of the 10 goals that we've conceded in the past few games, or however many games that we conceded 10 goals in? You go back to those games and you count how many were our own mistakes, and you'll find a good majority. And then the question is, how can you then blame the coach for that? No, Zwane for game management later on in the game. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about how he managed the game himself and give him his own ratings. But for now, 7 missed chances, and then we get punished for a stupid mistake as usual. Hello and welcome to Khosi Nation Fan TV. I am Pelo, I am your host. This is where fans meet and talk about Kaizer Chiefs, Amakhosi Football Club. And we're giving player ratings, and for this game that we drew against the Gallants. And the stinking attitude of our players continue to show again. Let's start with Brendan Peterson, who I will give a 3, because you cannot be doing the same thing every week. I watched that goal again. There was no point, there was no reason for him to be in the position that he was in. And he's getting a 3 not because of how bad the performance was against Gallants, but because this thing has been recurring. He did it 3 or 4 times last game against Stellenbosch. He does it again in the game against Gallants, and it actually cost us this time. The moment he sees Udove saying go back, because Udove at that point has better control of the ball. Well, he proved what he didn't, but if he was in goal, calculating which, seems like Udove has this, let me go back and stay in. Or alternatively, if you are going to try and come out for the ball, come out for the ball. If you've made a decision, Yoguti, I am coming out to clear the ball, I am coming out to do whatever with the ball, then do it. Don't be indecisive and come out and then go back. It's not good. It's nonsense. And this hurts me because I hate being negative about the team. I hate it. I just want to talk about, they were so good. They did this. Peterson made saves. Positioning yake was great, but we nonsense. And it's difficult for me to sit here and defend the nonsense and seem like I'm a delusional person. Solomons at right back had a good game, Shem. I won't lie. Solomons, he was going forward, he was coming back, he was overlapping, he was dribbling past people. He just needed to be a bit more clinical when it comes to passes. But most of the times, even when it was 1v1, he would beat a defender and then make the right pass and continue with his run. I can't fault him. As I said yesterday, I think he was the second best player in that field of play yesterday. After the player I'm going to talk about next, I'll give Solomons, honestly, I will give him a 7. I know we lost, but he deserves that 7. Then the next player is Ungezana. I think Ungezana also had a good game. He had a better game than all of our players. There were times where he really intercepted the ball. He was solid in his own right, and more than other players just doing his intozabo all over. Now, in a way, he's going to take over what Udove has been, Uguba, our best defender, because he's going about his business in a way that is like, okay, I'm doing my job and I don't care ukuthi abantu bathini around me. I'm just going to play my football and forget about things. So Ungezana, for yena, I will give him a 7.5. Dove, again, we talked about Dove. What annoys me, ukuthi his lack of trust kuma teammates akhe ends up showing ukuthi he makes some mistakes, because Peterson comes out. We've talked about ukuthi kwayena he was wrong. If you come out and you're a goalkeeper and you shout, decide. But on the side, Gaga Dove, if you are going to tell the keeper not to come out, then deal with the ball. Don't say to the keeper, stay palini, and then fail to hold the person behind you. Because even if you are telling the keeper, if the keeper is coming out to get the ball, then your responsibility is not to then leave the ball or be outmuscled. Your responsibility is to protect the ball until the keeper reaches the ball. If you see, okay, the keeper is backing off, kick the ball out for a corner, safety first. Didn't do that. And it's the thing that has been happening in previous games. You see Guti now he's starting not to trust his teammates, and now it's costing the team. Kwayena he gets a 3 because he also missed a big chance. He gets a 3. Hlanti was there. He was also better than Hlanti was Hlanti, right? He doesn't have a bad performance, but it's just a okay performance. So it was okay. 5. My midfielders it. Right. Usamgelo with his passes going forward, good. Defensively, as I said, if he's not playing against a person who's better defensively than him, then he gets exposed for the things that you would expect a 6 to be doing. But as I said, he's still growing, and perhaps maybe he will learn more coming on the last 30 minutes of the game and having to have an assignment. Your job today is to go out and do 1, 2, and 3. Be solid, be solid, be solid, be solid. Because the thing is, right now, as much as we want the young boys to also learn as we are continuing and they are continuing with their career, the problem with the last few games of the season is we are trying to qualify for important things, and we cannot be having in-job training while the team is 1-1 and we're trying to defend for our lives. So that becomes a problem. He's a good addition, don't get me wrong, because what he does better than Umat, even Nosteb, is that Zwane is able to get the ball, dribble past people. When he gets the ball, there are those switches that he was doing when Uhepi Mashiane was there, because Mashiane opened the space wider than Tolu. We'll talk about that later. He knew every time where the pass is Mashiane. And by the way, that comes from Amat relay training. He knows Ugut Mashiane Ugupi, and all the time he got those passes correct. So range passing yake is very good. He just needs to fix the defensive part, because we cannot get dominated while we're playing a 6-out-2, because as much as we're expecting him to be a deep lying playmaker, we're also expecting him to defend as a midfielder. As a person who's on the ground, we just need for him to pick up his pace, but his game was 6. Then Umati once again, I wasn't overly impressed. He did get an assist, so that's a positive, but otherwise I didn't see anything. And by the way, in case you haven't heard, we assume that Zwane benched Ustebe because of my yellow cards, not because Umat is better than Ustebe. That's the theory that we are going on right now, because if you have Ustebe get a yellow card, then he doesn't play next week in our game against Royal AM, which is very important because it's a knockout. So I would give Umat a 4, because I need to see more. I need to see more. You coming in, you had a break, you weren't playing, you are playing against a team that has been playing a lot of games, and yet in midfield we still struggle. Maybe let me be gracious and give Umat a 5, not a 4. Once again, good touches here and there, but I do feel like Gwayena Izolo, there was a struggle a bit, so sometimes the decision making there was a time where he got the chance where the ball was on his left, the defenders were like 3 on his right, and there was a space in front of him where he could have pushed the ball with his left foot and then kicked it with his left foot across the goal, and then that was going to be a goal. But he trapped the ball, he cut in, and then they ended up winning the ball. And sometimes he would lost the ball cheaply, but he still had a better game than Umat, because I know Umat plays much deeper, but still he wasn't losing the ball as much. He was causing Gallants problems such that they were fouling him and they were getting set pieces because of Umtu. So I would say Umtu had an okay game, and then it was just those minor mistakes. Obviously, this must be understood. Umtu is only 19, so we cannot be expecting him to obviously be incredible and give us 10 out of 10 performances in each and every game. So it's understood and it's forgivable. So I give him a 6. And then we go to Utoli. Utoli was nowhere to be found. When we saw Umuntu who actually came on and played was Umashiane in that position, because he had 20 minutes, but he had 2 or 3 good runs where he created good scoring opportunities from his side. So he actually had a better game than Utoli, who played longer than him. So I was just disappointed in his performance Katoli once again, because once again it's this thing that we're saying, Guti, equality Katoli will show, but at the end of the day, he's not in form. It will show in cases where he scores goals, but the fact is this season is just not in form. And in bad games, when we have bad games, then it shows good. Oh, this player is actually not in good form, and then the team as a whole gets exposed. And that's what happened yesterday, because I didn't see him personally. I didn't see where he was. So Utoli will also get a 4. By the way, I forgot to ask, please do like the video if you are enjoying it, and subscribe to the channel if you are new, because if you've watched for 12 minutes, then that means you must be enjoying the video. So please like the video, subscribe, it helps me to reach more people like you. Then Sekou Dupre, he scored a goal. Yay, great. But he's becoming cocky, because now he thinks he should be scoring all the goals. And he also missed, let me see, the 6th, the 16th, the 18th, I think even the 27th. Big chances that he missed, where he could have done a simpler thing, where he could have passed the ball to Saile, just wants to go on his own. And I think this thing, I'm scoring goals, starts getting into his head, oh, I can still catch up with Caleb and be the top goal scorer at Chiefs, or I can still chase the golden boot. Stop it. Let's think about the team. Let's forget about your own ambitions and what you want to achieve this season. It's now about the team. You're a good player, you give us good runs, you give problems for the players that we play against, but just think about the team and forget about what you can get out of the game, because we've established Uguti he's a very, very, very useful player for each team, but for each Chiefs. But then we don't want this thing Uguti abantu baqale manje and play like individuals and want to shine on their own. So because he scored a goal, he still did what he was supposed to do in terms of runs, but he wasted way too many chances. I will also give him a 6. Next is Usaile. Usaile, Kwayena, I will call this out. I wrote this thing. When Udupre scored a goal, Usaile was just casually joking when we were celebrating. I hate that nonsense. I hate it. Like, your team can't score a goal and then when you are not celebrating with them. Because that attitude is the attitude that we saw with Cristiano Ronaldo. Uguti, when it's not him who scores a goal, he doesn't celebrate with the team. But when he scores a goal, see, everyone must come around and hug him. But if anyone else scores, I got celebrating him. The attitude, if you're scoring a goal, everyone in the team must understand how precious this thing is. If players not 36, when we score a goal, they run across from the technical area and run to the corner. And when Udupre scores a goal, was like, 10 meters away from you, yet a person who's in the technical area gets to you first, gets to Dupree first, and when you are still joking. I know that I'm reading too much into things, but this attitude they are not happy for each other is the reason why Dupree nabo, when they get amabola, they want to score more for themselves because of celebrate by himself. Sahile naye, when he's not passing the people that he should be passing, it's because now he's thinking about himself scoring instead of helping the team. So it's these small things that I'm obviously, some people will probably say I'm reading too much into this, but I will say good. That thing annoys me. If your team scores a goal, you celebrate with them. If we defend together, because it's good for the team, and so everyone should be happy for the team and celebrate together. I will say that. If you disagree with me, let me know in my comments. So Usahele Gwayena, he disappeared until Utoli was out, which by the way I think is because when Utoli was playing, the ball was being played to Utoli all the time, and then and then when Utoli finally went out, then Usahele was getting the ball, and then he started creating some chances, dribbling past people, but then end product, then I am frustrated, Shem. Besengithing right, but I'm seeing now I'm still frustrated. So Usahele Gwayena, he gets a 5 because you can't disappear for an entire half and come back in the second half. Then we go to Ama subs, Matlo 4. I won't even talk much about him. And then we go to Mashiane, who had a better game compared to Dolly in 20 minutes. But now it got those 3 runs, and then he played the ball across. And that was it. So Gwayena, he didn't light up the game, so I will also give him a 6. If you go to the coach Zwane, which I'm sure some people were waiting for, is Uguti. Zwane had a, how can I say this? As usual, his starting plan was good, but how he managed the game, why he didn't bring on Usakhota for more pace up front, I don't understand that. I will say Uguti players missing 7 clear-cut chances, that's on players entirely. But at the same time, if you see Uguti, all your players up front are not doing anything for you, take them out and bring on someone else. I'm not blaming him for Ustebe because I understand the situation Ustebe, but the players who were there who needed to be subbed, the timing of the subs, I question that. And because of that, we almost lost the game. It's on the players, but also Abadlalma better, take them out and bring on people who are going to give you something. And because of that, Zwane from this game also gets a 6. What did you think of yesterday's game? Let me know down in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, remember, Khosi, Alpelo Moy.